Thank you so much, Blessing Aichi, for that presentation there. I did tell you that we're going to be looking at the issue of the minimum wage, the challenge of the minimum wage and the 2019 election. We understand as we speak now that a committee has been set by the federal government to once again look into the minimum wage against the backdrop that before this time, we understand that the federal government has promised that on the 23rd of this January 2019, that they are going to be transmitting the minimum wage bill to the National Assembly. So for some people, they really don't understand the importance and, of course, the reason for this new committee that has been set up. Well, that is just on the wayside. I did also tell you that we are going to look at the new IG that has been appointed only some few hours ago by the president. You understand that before this time we had Idris as the IG that has retired due to the fact that he has worked up to the expected time for retirement. And you understand that it was in 2016 that Idris was appointed, and he took over from our own Solomon Arase, who was the then IG of police in the country. And we also understand also too that the new IG now, Adamu Abaka, is from Nasarawa State, and we are told that he has, he was one time a commissioner of Enugu State and also held some specific positions in the country. Well, just this morning on one of the papers, he promised Nigerians that there's going to be a free and fair election. And that's one thing that most people want to hear, because worries over time concerning the election, and when they had to talk about the former IG Idris, some people were not too comfortable. I really don't know the reason why. But what we're going to be doing here today is going to be setting an agenda briefly for this new IG as he looks into the issue of insecurity, most especially the Boko Haram insurgency in the northwest, northeast, and pockets of insecurity issues in the south, southeast, and southwest. Well, to do all this this morning, we have Pastor Logat Sado, who is a lecturer with the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, University of Benin. Sir, welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Thank you very much, Evans. Good morning, my Edo people.
Yes. And also we have my very good friend, Money Mike Modesty Itwa, is a labor unionist and a labor devotee too. Sir, welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Yeah. Yes, good morning.
Yeah, gentlemen, we have a new IG. I think this may have relaxed the nerves of so many people because before the appointment was made, reactions here and there that a new IG is needed. Logat Sado, I don't know what your expressions are on this.
Yeah, thank you very much. And my Edo people, once again, very good morning. I like to join my voice with other Nigerians to congratulate the new IG, Mr. Mohammed. I really want to say that his appointment is well deserved because he has gone through the ranks. And then we expect a lot from him because I think that enough time of jamboree activities would have taken place yesterday. It is time to get to work. So I think that the new IG should rise up to the occasion and ensure that security is provided for all Nigerians, irrespective of political affiliation. Because you do know, like I do, that the immediate past IG had a lot of things that most Nigerians were not comfortable with, such that most people felt that the police was kind of segregational in their provision of security, and of course they selected people they prosecuted. And the case of Dino Melaya and others is one case that we should not even discuss for today. So, but I think that Mohammed is starting on a clean slate. Let's see how it goes. Because for me, there is need for all Nigerians to be assured of security, irrespective of ethnic nationality, political affiliation, or religious affiliation. Every Nigerian has a right to protection. And I think that it is the constitutional responsibility of the Nigerian police force to provide protection for all Nigerians. Having said that, the elections is by the corner. And I think that the police need to strategize on how to ensure that every form of electionary manipulations are avoided. And of course, as much as possible, they must provide security for both the electorate, the observers, and all those who are participating as workers, either as INEC workers, ad hoc staff, or even international observers. Because I speak from experience. I've had the privilege of working with INEC for a while now in some elections. And oftentimes, you find out that when you expect the police to be there, especially as a coalition officer, at about 12 a.m., they are nowhere to be found. They've all gone home, and you are left at the mercy of the political players there. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So I think that he needs to go back to the book, go back to the drawing board, and ensure that his men are up and doing. And of course, the issue of police high-handedness needs to be addressed. The issue of course, police brutality needs to be addressed. You see, the police have been bastardized over the years. We are not saying that they are not trying, but we think that with a new man coming into the helm of affairs, there is need for the narratives to be rewritten. There is need for the police to redefine what is expected of them and to be seen acting as such without being partisan. Because if you ask me, partisanship of the Nigerian police force has been the bane of the police right from inception. And if the police can be void of partisanship and ensure that everyone is attended to, no matter who you are, if you break the law, you face the books. If you don't break the law, you are not molested. A situation where those who break the law are protected by police, and those who are not breaking the law are the ones being manipulated or forced by the police is something that Nigerians will need to wear extra lens on to observe from the position of this new IG. But having said that, he hasn't done anything now. As Commissioner of Enugu, I don't have any bad record about him. As Zone 5 AIG in Benin, I don't have any negative record so far about him. So I think that the man has what it takes to run the affair of the police, although I have my reservations on his ethnic nationality, but we'll leave that for another day.
We're told that the new IG of police now, he's in acting capacity. He's from Lafia, Nasarawa State, and holds a BSc in geography. And of course, he will be serving in acting capacity, just as I told you, pending his confirmation. And he was enlisted into the police force on the first day, February 1st, 1986, as a cadet assistant superintendent of police. And before his appointment as acting inspector general of police, we are told that he was the head of National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. That's the NIPSS in Guru, Jos in Plateau State. And also, too, he was commissioner of police in Ekiti State, Enugu State, and also assistant inspector general of police in charge of Zone 5 Police Command Headquarters in Benin City, Edo State. So I think that's a good one for Edo people. Money Mike Modesty, perhaps you have one or two agenda to set for this new IG.
I really do not have any agenda to set for the IG.
Why?
Other than he should go and perform his duties with the fear of God. That summarizes everything. Whether it is the old IG or the new IG or the ones that came before them, the stories have remained the same. The only thing I want to stress here is they should continue. If they have not, they should take the welfare of the policemen.
Well, but Monima, you know the stories have remained the same. I remember when Solomon Arase was IG of police, our own Solomon Arase, there were times that there were issues that had to do with cult boys here and there. And to a very large extent, he was able to fight that to a standstill.
When you say a standstill, in his era was courtesan eliminated.
But
we are not saying that for those who performed well in one or two areas, they are not commended. We have commended them. All I'm telling you is that the minuses are more than the pluses. So what are we talking about? So that's why I told you I really don't want to run any commentary on the issue, other than to say the new IG should perform his duties with the fear of God. They should not be partisan, but they can hardly be apolitical. Let us not deceive ourselves.
All right, gentlemen, viewers, the program is still this morning on ITV. That's for the new IG there, Abubakar Adamu, who has assumed office right from the time he was, appointed by the president. He's still in acting capacity, pending when his appointment is going to be confirmed. Well, let's look at the main topic of today, talking about the new minimum wage, the challenge of the new minimum wage and the 2019 election. And as we speak now, on the 23rd of this January, it's going to be the day that the federal government is going to transmit the minimum wage bill to the National Assembly. And just before that, as we await that, we understand that there's this new committee that has been set by the federal government. For some people, they're at sea, they're at lost. They really don't understand what is going on. It's almost a case of one step forward, two steps backward. Look at Sado. I don't know what your findings are on this too.
Well, I think that it will just point to one direction. and that is government's insensitivity coupled with government's unwillingness to enforce the new minimum wage.
No, you cannot say so.
Well, I will give you my reasons. I will give you my reasons.
Why do you think government will have?
You see, you don't take one step forward
to kind of set up.
You don't take one step forward and take 10 steps backward and expect the people to think that you are heading towards a destination. You see, the organized labor sector, the federal government, all stakeholders met. And they decided, you know, you will agree with me that the initial amount put forth by the labor union wasn't 30,000 naira. But of course, after due negotiation and all things put into consideration, they arrived at 30,000 naira. Of course, we know the politics that the Minister of Labor, Dr. Ngige, played with the whole scenario, and before we got to the point where we are. Now, I need to understand what the body language of government is. So I will make it in a rhetoric form. Government has decided that they are going to present the bill on minimum wage to the National Assembly by 23rd of January. Now, I expect that the bill has been written. They're just waiting for the National Assembly to resume. Now, you are setting up a technical committee to do what? That I don't understand. What is the responsibility of the technical committee? What are they expected to do? Are they supposed to renegotiate the minimum wage? Are they looking at how the minimum wage will be funded? Because I'm aware that provision has been made in the 2019 budget for the minimum wage. So I am trying to understand the underlying factor behind this technical committee that government is projecting. When government has, in my opinion, although I have not seen the document, I'm sure have come up with a document on new minimum wage that they intend to present to the National Assembly. In fact, according to the spokesman of the federal government, the reason they have not presented is because the National Assembly is still in recess. Recess. So the question then is, why set up a committee? I don't understand. So that is why I share that view that look, government is taking one step forward and taking steps backward. You won't also forget, remember that the body language of government ab initio has been that we can't pay, we will not pay. Now, when I say government, I'm not necessarily talking about federal government alone, but all the government organizations put together, all the 3 tiers of government, 3 arms of government put together, are working together to ensure that they frustrate labor. Now, come to think of it, the question is, this minimum wage, is it a take-home wage? The minimum wage that government is dragging on, 30,000 minimum wage, if you convert that to dollar, how much does that translate into? Now, if you do that in retrospect and compare to what Nigerians were earning in 2005, you will find out that we are really not asking for increase in minimum wage. Because as at that time, how much was the dollar to the naira in 2005? It was barely 89 naira. Now, the dollar to the naira is 360 naira. So if you translate that 30,000 naira by the dollar, you will find out that the Nigerian labor is actually negotiating the Nigerian worker back to poverty. I understand that government is trying to make explanations why they can't pay the 30,000 minimum wage. But when you put it in international labor market, you will find out that Nigerians are about the worst paid in the world. Okay, yet the market is the same.
Mike Modesty to into this discussion. Now, Money Mike Modesty. Now, the government has told us that the reason why this committee has been set up is to look at the possibility of funding the new minimum wage. Well, he has said, Logat Sado has said that it's part of the 2019 budget. Now, that's a budget. It's not as if the government has the money. Against the backdrop that the governors have come out under the aegis of the Governors Forum, that they cannot fund this new minimum wage. So for the federal government to set up this committee, don't you think that the federal government is being sincere?
Well, I want to thank my brother here, who has really dealt much on most of the issues that I needed to talk about. I'm happy that you have versed enough on issues of labor, and you know the happening situation in this country. My dear brother Evans, I think to me we are beginning to overflow this issue. Yeah, let me address your question. Yeah. The National Income and Wages Commission was present during the tripartite negotiation. All governments had already evaluated the cost implication of 30,000 minimum wage. They were all present at the negotiating table. The outcome of that negotiation was signed by all of them. They already knew the financial implications. They submitted to Mr. President jointly. And at the end of the day, you have been told that another technical committee that is not known to law as far as collective bargaining is concerned, on the issue of minimum wage, which the Constitution overrides. To us, labor is not aware of any technical committee. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but
we're talking about
the possibility of funding.
That's why I'm telling you, they already knew they could fund 30,000. That was how they put pen to paper.
That's it.
They already knew. The issue of minimum wage has since been signed and sealed. We're waiting for deliverance to be delivered very soon. On the 23rd of July, to be delivered to the National Assembly. And we want to believe that Nigerians, the National Assembly will not take a long time to pass it. It's going to be very swift. Just a little clauses to be amended. Once they pass it, it goes. The President will sign it. What they are doing is just to buy time. So after February, they will say they start going back, rolling back their steps again. We are ready. We are willing. We are Nigerians. 90% of the engine of governance is in our hands. When you talk of government, workers constitute over 98%. The political class who are heading the positions are very few. So if you're asking if the money is there, the workers will tell you yes, because we are the one creating the wealth. We know where the money is. Therefore, the Mr. President has put up a Rwandese committee, technical committee. Let me tell you what they are driving at. The essence is not to neutralize the 30,000. The essence of that committee is to cut workers who are presently earning through different salary structures above that limit, like all tertiary institutions, like health workers.
No, hold on. But you can't say this because you are not part of the committee.
I am telling you authoritatively, because the terms of reference will tell you where they are going to. And as a labor devotee, somebody who has been in labor, I'm telling you the direction government is going. Because this category of workers I'm talking about, they are already any higher. So they want to ensure there will be no agitation from any of this category of workers or their labor unions. Then we are ready. The technical committee, did you see any labor person there? No. To us, the federal government committee is a self-serving committee. When we get to the river, we shall cross the bridge.
All right, well, we're going to hold on to, because the committee is meeting now, so let's keep our fingers crossed till the 23rd and see when the minimum wage bill is being transmitted to the National Assembly and see the follow-ups to all that. Now, the 2019 election is fast approaching, less than 35 days, as we speak now. And some people begin to see politics in this whole talks about the minimum wage bill and all that and the 2019 election. Now, look at Sado. Who is being political in all of this? Is it the labor union or the government itself?
Okay, without mixing words, the government is trying to play politics.
But what will you say about the labor union?
I will come to that.
Opinion, just like what Money Mike Modesty said, that we will see. It seems that the labor union, they are threatening the government of the day. Don't you think so?
No, I'm sure you used the term threat for want of words. Because like he did say, the labor or the workers are the engine block of any government. Now, is it not an irony, for instance, in a country like the United States, where you expect that the labor should be the one going on strike, is the government that is going on strike by shutting down because of what they want? It shows you that, look, at any particular point in time, any sector of government that is threatened has the option of closing the system to ensure that the agitations are listened to. Having said that, you could see the politics that government is playing with labor at the moment. Now, recall that this is not the first time the issue of minimum wage had come into play in Nigeria since the inception of this administration. You will notice that the issue of minimum wage should have been dealt with by September 30th last year. And Labour was patient enough with government to ensure that government went through all the ropes to get to the point where we are. We even expected that at the moment, it should have been implemented into the salaries of workers as we speak. But yet, government is full dragging. Now, I need to say this on air, that government is trying to buy time to ensure that they are able to stage manage this whole process of increase in wage to get the Nigerian workers to believe that government is interested in the welfare of workers. Yet, there will be no implementation.
But you cannot say
I can assure you, now it's, as an observer and as a labor man.
If you look at all the efforts of government, you cannot say that government is full dragging. I mean, because government has, just like what I said, government has seen it that what is likely going to be the problem is how to fund this minimum wage. After all, what is going to be the minimum wage if there is no a ground for funding?
Let me paint a scenario to you. A report came out from the presidency sometime about 4 weeks ago on the amount projected into the Nigerian budget for the former heads of states for their pension. It amounted to about 193 billion naira. I say that there are about 10 of them still alive. So that means that on the average head of state in Nigeria has access to about 19.3 billion naira for 10 people. Now, if you juxtapose that against the number of Nigerian workers and what the labor wage is for the Nigerian workers, don't forget that these are people generating the monies. Whether or not they're in the service industry or manufacturing industry in the Nigerian system, they are the ones generating the money. To say that you can't pay them what can barely pay house rent. Because I live in Benin City, and yet Benin is not the most expensive place in Nigeria. But in Benin City, for instance, for you to get a 3-bedroom apartment in Benin at the moment, you need at least 300,000 naira. Now, if you multiply 30,000 naira by 12, that's going to give you an average of about 360,000 naira. So are you saying that after the worker has paid for his house rent, he's not going to feed his children, he's not going to put them in school? Now, we're talking about being reasonable. How do you translate that into the allowances these political appointees and political kings spend on themselves? Let's even talk about the money they spend on newspapers. Needless to say what they spend on extra codes and allowances. We don't even want to talk about the security vote given to governors, which is about 500 million and above on a monthly basis. We don't want to talk about that which goes to the presidency. I needed to say that so that Nigerians can understand where labor is coming from. That see, as long as these political appointees are in office, they hardly spend their salaries on their upkeep. Yet, the man who works, whether as a professor, whether he works as a teacher or works as an accountant in the ministry, needs to wait for his salary. That doesn't come as at when due.
Modesty. Now, we're looking at the politics in all these argumentations between Labour and the federal government. Now, from the way Labour speaks, it insinuates that, look, if this government is not ready to do the needful for us, then we begin to look at other alternatives, probably other the election is around the corner. Other parties that may be ready to do this for us. Now, if Labour is insinuating that, don't you think that Labour is being political?
Well, you have used the word insinuation, and I'm not sure.
No, from the front.
No. Labour is even the most matured in the whole scenario.
I agree.
The potency, the capacity to be able to bring the economy to the knees, to its knees, Labour has it. But do you know that Labour has remained extremely diplomatic, just for the national interest, to ensure there is peace, to ensure there is no tension in the nation. And government is not latching into that to do the needful. I can tell you, 23rd is here. If you don't do the needful by 23rd, you only hear the whistle blow. The whistle will go off. We are not going to give anybody any notice any longer.
So if
it is the federal government that is playing politics with the whole matter. An issue that ought to have been originated by the government since 2015. Constitutionally, as provided, it's every 5 years. Government didn't initiate it. Labour initiated late 2015.
Is it the responsibility of government?
Yeah,
we must get it straight. Statutorily, members of the National Assembly are supposed to discuss and reach agreements with government.
That's how we call.
Some say that Labour is fighting a fight.
Let me interject you. You ask a question. Let me answer. It is in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that minimum wage be reviewed every 5 or 6 years.
By who?
By the government.
The
Constitution is the Constitution.
By the
Constitution. It's the executive that executes the laws of the country.
Who say to the legislature?
No. What we are saying is this. When you are to do an amendment or a review, is it the legislature that has the Federal Minister of Labour?
No.
Is it the legislature that has the minister? The office of the Minister of the Federal Minister of Labour ought to have originated it. If they were not looking for trouble. But Labour patiently waited and gave government attention and made a suggestion. After many months, they reluctantly came to say, okay, let's do something. And don't forget that it was Christian Digge who told Nigerians that by September last year, a new minimum wage would have been approved. Only for them to adjourn the tripartite committee negotiation abruptly swear.
Yeah, because members of the governors were not forthcoming. I mean,
Evans,
may not have
you are doing your job as a broadcaster.
As a journalist.
Whether you have NBC rules or not, when you ask us questions, please let us answer them.
Yeah, of course.
Hold on. You are speaking for government now. You are asking us the question.
No, I'm not speaking for government.
You are now a counsel to the government. As far as you are concerned,
I'm only
you ask us a question,
please respond.
we will provide the answer.
Okay.
So if it were possible, maybe they would have invited the federal government person to be here. They have federal Minister of Labour office in Benin.
Definitely.
Invite them. So that if you look at a balanced
the issues are ongoing.
Because as you are doing it, it's like you are standing for the federal government.
The issues are ongoing.
Okay,
So
be that as it may.
sometime, yeah.
Be that as it may. We are not threatening anybody. We have extremely been pushed to the wall. And we have the instrument with which even their own workers in the offices will lock the offices. But we are not doing that because we are more mature than them. We've been all this for dragging here and there. It's not even necessary.
Money Mike Modesty, let's see the kind of words we use here.
I have no apology.
No, words are
we are more mature than them.
No, you can't say so. I won't let you say
I owe no apology whatsoever. You can say so, but I owe no apology whatsoever. Except you are telling me I should walk out of the studio, I will go away.
No, you can't do that.
So what I'm saying, we owe them no apology because they are our servants. We are their masters. That's we are elected to serve us. Our servants cannot be our masters. And that's the more reason, if Nigerians deem it fit, that they are not conducting themselves as servants, they can be beaten out.
All right, gentlemen. Gentlemen, what can that is where the threat comes in.
No, it's not threat. It's our fundamental human rights.
Gentlemen,
it's our fundamental human rights.
We really go about all this because from the look of things, the committee set up by the federal government is on one side. The transmission of the minimum wage bill is on one side. And of course, the Governors Forum, they are on one side. So we have about three groups, three thoughts, so to say now, that may not come together at the end of the day. So what can we really do so as to advance some of this? Because on the 23rd, if this is not transmitted, if the minimum wage bill is not transmitted to the National Assembly, from what Money Mike has said, it means it's going to be industrial action. So what can we do so that at the end of the day, we have a peaceful nation, peaceful election, and all that?
Well, I think that one of the things we need to do is this public enlightenment that we're carrying out. And I think that the agents or agencies of government are listening. And they should know that, look, there is a limit to which you push someone or you push an institution. And Labour has been pushed to the wall. You know, just as an aside, just like Labour is pushed to the wall, that's how ASU has been pushed to the wall. And the issue then is government knows what to do. Government deliberately decides not to do what is right in order to push the people to the wall. I think that, in my own opinion, you may not like it, but I think that this government thrives when there is crisis. I think that this government appears to have enjoyed themselves more when there is abnormality in the system. Because if that were not so, I think that this government by now we will not be talking about the technical committee. So in order not to give credence to that technical committee, I won't mention anything about it. I just want to say that what Labour should do is to ensure that they follow up and ensure that by 23rd, the new minimum wage bill is communicated to the National Assembly. If that is not done, I think that Labour should pull the ass. And I think that it's not just, you see, it's not just Labour. Hold on, Evans. It's not just Labour. I think that Labour should not only go on strike. They should go on mass rally, mass demonstration.
They protested that last 2 weeks.
Yes, but you see, it was just a tip of the iceberg. It's not the type that we did in 2012 when we were talking about the subsidy removal. Now, I think that all those who stood up in 2012 against subsidy removal are suddenly, just a moment, Evans, I need to say this, even if it's on a closing note. I think that those who went on rampage, those who demonstrated and closed our public spaces during the 2012 subsidy removal have suddenly, in my own opinion, I've closed their mouth and I've become lame. No,
let's speak to
these are Nigeria is dying. Nigeria is nosediving, and they are not saying anything.
Nigeria is not dying. Let's get it straight. Money Mike Modesty, let me get your final thoughts on all this. Now, don't you think that Labour should have a better alternative? Because whether we like it or not, Labour is part of the nation. It's part of the progress that all of us we are yearning for in this country. So what do you think should be the better alternative that Labour should begin to think at?
The better alternative and the best option is after 23rd, nothing is done. Labour will direct that every office, whether private or public in Nigeria, should be shut down.
Anyway, the issues are ongoing, and just like what we said, that the 23rd is when the federal government has promised that they are going to transmit the minimum wage to the National Assembly. So, also for the fact that the committee has been set up, that seems not to go down well with Labour. Well, we'll keep the issues on as the issues involve so that we can really get you to understand the issues one more time better and more enlightened. Thank you so much, Logat Sado, for finding time, and also the Labour devotee here. Money Mike Modesty, please extend a handshake to Money Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.